In today's training, we are going to talk about hunger versus cravings. So who am I? My name is Doel Nuckowitz. I'm a former dual sport collegiate athlete who really struggled transitioning from college athletics into the real world. Even though I moved into my career field as a social worker, I struggled when it came to knowing who I was, what I was supposed to be doing in life. I found myself depressed, anxious, and I coped with it by eating and drinking too much. That led to me putting on over 40 pounds in less than 2 years. Mentally, I was struggling. Physically, I had no energy. I had lost all confidence. And it took a long time of being miserable before I finally knew I needed a change and actually did something about it. I spent many years doing a lot of the wrong things and discovered a lot of the right ways to get healthy and strong again. I didn't want other women to feel the same way I did. So I went on and I got several different training certifications and started Epic Redemption Coaching, where I can help other women get out of that feeling that I was in, help them gain strength, confidence, and drop the unwanted weight that may have come along the way. In this training, we will cover the difference between hunger and cravings, why we need to keep them in check, and how to control them. Hunger and cravings are not the same thing. Satiation is about hunger, while satisfaction is about cravings. Hunger is something that you feel in the gut. Cravings are something you feel in your head. Physical or true hunger commonly causes an empty feeling in your stomach pains, lightheadedness, sometimes a headache, and sometimes irritability. Have you ever been hangry? When you're too hungry, you can sometimes find that irritability and you may be lashing out on others. I know I've done that far too many times. Hunger usually occurs when you haven't eaten for a few hours or more, right? You actually have an empty stomach. You might hear rumblings in your stomach. Hunger isn't something that is going to pass with time. If you're hungry, if you're truly hungry and you have the physical manifestation of hunger, it's not going to just go away on you. It isn't just about a specific food, and it can usually be satisfied with a healthy snack or a meal. Psychological hunger or cravings are often triggered by moods or emotions. Emotional triggers include eating in response to uncomfortable feelings like stress, loneliness, and anger, or it might be in response to more enjoyable feelings like happiness, celebrations, and excitement. Other non-hunger factors that may influence eating include the sight and smell of food, the taste of food, the pleasure of eating, social pressures, or unconscious habits like eating while you're watching TV or cooking. Cravings are usually for comfort foods like chocolate, sweets, or maybe fatty foods. They can be caused, as we said, by negative feelings. They lead to eating that makes you feel really good in the moment and often guilty later. Sometimes cravings increase during a woman's pregnancy or menstrual cycle. Cravings may be stronger when you're dieting, especially if you're giving up your favorite foods, and I definitely want to hit on this in a few moments. They can occur after you've recently eaten. How many times have you eaten? You're physically full, but you're still wanting specific foods. And cravings, unlike hunger, can pass with time. So how do you handle cravings? You need to dig into the root of it. You need to first figure out that it's a craving versus hunger. Why are you having that particular craving? What's going on? Is it something emotional? You need to find that trigger. You want to weigh your options when it comes to cravings. If your craving is so strong that you can't think or do anything else, is there a good alternative? Or maybe you just have to give in and eat that thing. Figure out what that craving is and just address it head on. Sometimes you want to distract yourself. Again, cravings can pass with time. So if you can have enough time pass, that may help you out. Nice distractions are going to be activity, a workout, a nice walk. I know sometimes for me, it's just talking on the phone and keeping myself busy and not thinking about whatever that is. If there are particular foods that you know when you're triggered emotionally that you're going to gravitate towards, try to keep them out of your house or try to avoid situations where they're going to be there. Sometimes there are helpful food swaps that can be a better alternative than just going right in for that particular food that you're looking for. For example, potato chips. Try replacing, if you feel like you're craving chips, with a salty snack alternative that's going to be higher in healthier fats and protein. These might be things like salted cashews or peanuts. Now, of course, the unsalted nuts are going to be healthier for you, but they might not satisfy that salty craving. Too much salt can be harmful, so be mindful of that. Another great alternative, if you're craving that salty potato chip taste, might be some air popped popcorn. If you are craving chocolate, again, if you can handle just a small piece of chocolate to satisfy that craving, go ahead. But if you can opt for chocolate that contains at least 70% of the cocoa, so that it's richer in antioxidants, so that you're at least getting a little bit of a healthy kick in there. Candy or pastries. Again, this is like avoiding going near bakeries, right? Because that sense of smell can often cause those cravings to come on. But if you are craving candy or pastries or sugary foods, try replacing them with sweet fruit like peaches, cherries, melon. Another alternative, especially if you're on the go, could be dried fruits like prunes, raisins. Keeping those on hand can help you when you're on the go. Again, you don't want to eat a ton of that kind of stuff, especially the dried fruit because of sugar content, but this can be a better alternative than eating that entire donut. If you're somebody that can just eat a bite of something just to satisfy that craving, then you might want to eat whatever it is specifically that's triggering that. But if you know that one bite's going to lead to 4 donuts, stay the heck away if you can. Soda. Sometimes you're craving soda. Good alternatives might be a sparkling water with a little bit of fruit juice, adding some fruit to it, like a sliced orange. That can sometimes help that soda craving. And cheese. Cheese is a tough one for me these days. It's been something I've been craving a lot. If you replace full fat cheese with a lower fat or lower sodium versions, it can be a little bit better option. Again, for me, the best alternative is to just keep it out of my house. Or what I'm learning is if I keep crackers out of my house, because I put the two together. If I don't have crackers, I don't just sit and eat cheese. So being mindful of your body and being mindful of the things that you may put together so that you can keep them away when possible. So why does all this matter? Somebody that I really love following and I highly recommend checking out is Dr. Jade Teta. He does a lot of work when it comes to metabolism and cravings and hunger. And I want to share a little bit about what he said, but here are some of the keys. We need to find a way to keep foods enjoyable while balancing our calories, especially if you are looking to lose weight or even just maintain weight. We can't live on chicken and broccoli alone. We have to address cravings, and we can't focus on just restricting our calories. So what he shared recently was it helps to think about what food is offering. If you were given 5 chicken breasts or 5 donuts as your only food for the day, which could you finish and which will leave with leftovers? Most people can eat 5 donuts in a day, no problem. Heck, some can do that before lunch. Few could eat 5 chicken breasts, yet they have similar calories, about 250. So what makes them different? Okay, and so this is where I really want you to think about this idea, right? That it's not just about the calories that we're eating. So he goes on to say, it's the macronutrients, especially the protein. The protein in the chicken is highly satiating. It suppresses the appetite. The chicken breast is also very low in fat and has no carbs. The donut, however, is exactly the opposite. It has virtually no protein and is loaded with fat and sugar and has less satiating potential. That satiation, that's where we're getting full, right? That's where we are addressing hunger. That means there's no logic in grabbing a donut and expecting it to squash your hunger. In fact, foods rich in the combinations of fat, sugar, and salt, like a donut, have been shown to trigger more cravings for similar, highly palatable foods. While this is not true for all people, it is a good bet that it is true for most. You might grab a donut because it tastes good and satisfies a craving, but don't be surprised if your stomach is rumbling within the hour and you find yourself reaching for another one. The chicken breast, however, is far more likely to hold you until your next meal. No snacking needed. This is the way you want to start thinking about food. It is not just about what food does to you in the moment. You also should be thinking, if I eat this food, will it help me eat less and better quality foods later? Or will I be more likely to eat more and worse foods later? Food is not simply a bunch of calories. It's also a packet of information for your metabolism. So it's really important to think about everything that he just unpacked there, right? If you aren't sure if you're hungry or you're just craving something, try to eat something healthy. If you're truly hungry, right? If your body's indicating it's hungry, if you have some vegetables or some fruit, that should hold you over. I never understood when I was in college, I could eat and eat and eat and eat all this Chinese food. And then like an hour later, I felt like I was starving. Well, it's because the quality of the Chinese food that I was eating and what I chose to eat in the Chinese food, it was lacking in macronutrients. It didn't have a lot of great protein, and it had all of that added fat, right? It had all the added carbs and had all the added salt to it, which was just making me crave other things later on. This is why you want to think about the foods you start your day with. If you start your day with a donut or a big bagel with cream cheese, is that making you hungrier later? Or maybe if you start with eggs and maybe toast with a little avocado on it, not only might that satisfy your hunger, but also your cravings for something that might taste a little better for you later. So you want to think about those things. When you start to look at your food as whole and not just what feels good in the moment, you can start to make some better decisions. The key, you need to learn what and how much you need to eat so that you can feel full while keeping your cravings in check and your energy high. Learning what foods keep you moving in the direction of your goals without sending you spiraling is so important. Sometimes you might need to eat that small piece of chocolate, or maybe you do need to eat that donut, because if you ate that donut today, you're not going to feel the need to eat them all week long. But if it's going to do the opposite and it's going to lead to you wanting more, you need to be mindful. Sometimes that small piece of chocolate is all you need to satisfy that craving in the moment, and you can move on. But the biggest key is to figure out what you might need to be adding to various meals to keep you from needing that. Really quick, I had a client who has been losing weight. She's been losing weight steadily. And at lunch, she was typically having a potato with her meal, right? She was also having veggies. And she asked on one of our training calls whether she should give up that potato for more vegetables. And so I asked her a series of questions. Now, mind you, she was eating vegetables. It wasn't that she was eating that over vegetables. And in the series of questions, the first thing I asked was, do you find yourself getting hungry between lunch and dinner? She did not, right? She was staying full between lunch and dinner. My next question was, how is your energy between lunch and dinner? We need to pay attention to our energy levels. Her energy was good. And then the scale is still going down, right? The other question I asked was, do you feel like you're craving something? Do you feel like in between lunch and dinner, there's a particular food or something that you crave? And she didn't, right? So she's feeling full. She's not having cravings, and her energy is good. Her weight is also continuing to go down. So she's found that right blend, that right combination. There are a lot of people that are afraid to eat a sweet potato at lunch, but then between lunch and dinner, they find themselves craving a donut or craving the chips, where if they just ate the sweet potato, they don't have that craving. So you want to start to figure some of those things out. Now, this can get really hard if you're doing it on your own and you've never done it before. So why not utilize somebody who's been through it, somebody who has tested this for themselves, has worked with dozens of women this year on finding that right balance so that they can lose weight, have energy, feel strong. There's several ways we can connect. If you've got questions, if you want to talk, you can email me. You can find me on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. But the best way, and the way I recommend that we connect, is through my free transformation analysis call. On that call, we go through a couple different things. First, we talk about what your goals, right? Why is it that you even want to get any of this in check? What are those goals? Why are those goals important to you? Then we talk about what have you done in the past? What's not working, right? Why is it that you need some help? What isn't working for you in this moment? Then we want to talk about what are some of the roadblocks and the things that are getting in your way of reaching those goals. And then the last thing we do together is come up with a plan. I'll make some suggestions, point you in the right direction. And if in the end it makes sense and we jive and it feels like a good fit, I can give you some options that would have us working together towards those goals. Or if it's not a good fit or the timing isn't right, at least you leave with a plan that you can take forward. I am looking forward to the opportunity to talk to you. If you have any questions, please reach out. I hope this training was helpful. Let me know what you thought.